It's been 9 months since the first round of the Heavyweight Sprinting Championship at Buckmore Park. 9 rounds later, here we are, the final round. 113 drivers have taken part. We're down to 2 drivers who can win the championship today. Championship leader Will Gibson comes here on the back of a win at Wilton Mill. That leaves Dave Pethers needing to overhaul a 9-point disadvantage. James Child in third is guaranteed third in the championship. Nothing that Peter Harris or Jamie Bird can do about that. He can't win the championship though. He sits in pole position. He is the Rye House specialist. And this is how it breaks down. It's complicated, but basically Dave Pethers needs to finish in the top 3 here and ahead of Will Gibson. The battle for 4th is up for grabs between Peter Harris, Jamie Bird, Jeff Simons and Barney Langley. Wiggins, of course, is already super heavyweight champion. So Child on pole from Nick Billsborough, Peter Kay, Paul Heim on the second row. 2 heat wins for Nick Portlock gives him 5th from James Taylor. Pethers on 7, Will Gibson on 10. Well, here we go, rolling up to the start. The crowds have come out to watch. This could be a cracker. James Child takes the Union flag. Ahead of Nick Billsborough into turn 1. Billsborough trying to move over, but it's Peter Kay through from 3rd and runs wide, and Portlock's through to 2nd. And Dave Pethers has followed Portlock through to 3rd place. It's a great start by Pethers. Can't see Will Gibson in the crowd. Out of stadium, it's James Child from Nick Portlock. Dave Pethers, what a start from grid 7 for Dave, exactly what he needed. Jeff Simons though cutting to the inside as Portlock goes for the lead. Out of hairpin 1, Nick Portlock leads the heavyweight A final. Pethers takes back 3rd place from Jeff Simons. So Portlock from Child, Pethers, Simons, James Taylor. Can't see Will Gibson, there he is, he's in 6th place. So Gibson's got clear of the main pack, headed by Peter Harris, Peter Kay, Mark Oliver. Pethers now going for 2nd. He's in a hurry. It looks as though Dave Pethers is going shit or bust for this one. I think he's going to try and win this one and hope that's enough. It is right now. James has an outside mathematical chance of overhauling Dave Pethers for 2nd in the championship, which he won't do if Dave stays in the top 3. Into the midfield, it's been a poor start for Peter Kay, and now he's been turfed out the race, I think by Nick Billsborough. Child and Pethers side by side. It's been an aggressive start by Dave Pethers. Portlock through a huge puddle. In pylon, that's a tricky corner. Well, end of lap 2, Dave Pethers is 2nd. James Child 3rd, Jeff Simons now coming forward, and James Taylor's not far behind. Wiggins is stuffed in the tyre barrier at pylon when he's still super heavyweight champion regardless. And right now Dave Pethers has cemented his lead in the championship. If it finished right now, he will be the 2008 heavyweight champion. Gibson is going to have to start making ground, because 6th place in this race is not good enough. Portlock, Pethers, Child, Simons, Taylor. There's a gap developing to Gibson, who's got pressure from Peter Harris and Mark Oliver. Remember, Harris is racing Jeff Simons ahead of him for a position in the top 5 in the championship, along with Rudy Tyson and Jamie Bird further back. Will Gibson still struggling to make any impression on the top 5. In fact, Harris is now back on his bumper. Chris Wright's been tipped out, possibly with a clash with John Longman. Pethers moving on to the bumper of Nick Portlock. Well, it's a dilemma, isn't it? He would win the championship right now. We're not sure if he actually knows that. And Nick Portlock's got nothing to lose. So we'll be going full out for the win. He's run a long way into 1st hairpin. Pethers closes on the exit, but Nick's got better revs. Gibson and Harris do the same kind of thing. Gibson comes out ahead. Harris under pressure from Oliver. That would be helpful to Will Gibson if he could occupy Peter Harris for a few corners. He's looking for help. He's not going to get any. Support lock from Peathers, Child, James Taylor through to 4th place ahead of Jeff Simons. End of lap 4. And Gibson has fallen further behind. He's now 4.5 seconds behind Dave Peathers. If he wants to overhaul Dave Peathers in the championship, he needs to win this one if Dave's going to finish second, and it's not looking likely right now. Simons coming back at Taylor. Peathers took a look over his shoulder. Will he have seen Peter Harris demote Gibson to 7th? He's straight back at him. Peathers up front, running in behind Porlock in the pylon. Oh, and he spun! Peathers has fallen off. Gibson goes through. Gibson leads the championship. Peathers had to finish in the top 5 as a minimum. Well, let's take another look. He's in behind Nick Portlock, and he just seems to spin out, perhaps setting him up for a move into the second part of pylon. Well, he looks dejected, and you can't blame him. Child has moved to second in the championship, and a great run off camera by Rudy Tyson from the back of this grid sees him up to 14th place and currently in 4th place in the championship on drop scores. Porlock runs in a long way into the first hairpin. Nick, don't throw it away now. Peathers pushed to the pit lane. Dave Peathers retires. Support lock from Child, Simons pulling away from Taylor now. Will Gibson up to 5th, it doesn't really matter, he will be champion. James Child could win this race and end up level on points if Will Gibson suddenly decided to stop. Unfortunately, Will Gibson would have 2 race wins to James Child's 1, and he would be crowned the 2008 heavyweight champion. So it's all over in terms of the championship. So let's concentrate on the race action. Right now, Nick Portlock has a 2.5 second lead over James Child. From Jeff Simons, James Taylor, a gap to Gibson, who's just lost out to Oliver. Peter Harris 7th, Tony Barson. Great run from Michael Roots in 9th place, Barney Langley up to 10th. Three laps from the finish, and Jeff Simons is closing in on James Child. Oliver's pulled clear of Will Gibson. Portlock still fishtailing his card out of stadium, going a long way into hairpin 1. He's got this race under control. He's 2 seconds ahead of James Child. Oh, and Taylor's thrown it off. And he's almost collected Mark Oliver, and that's letting Gibson go through. Simons has overtaken Child on the run out of hairpin 2. He's back to second place. Gibson 4th with the demise of Peathers and Taylor. Oliver 5th. Harris 6th. Penultimate lap for Nick Portlock. It's looking fairly sunny, believe it or not, for Nick Portlock, and a first win in Club 100. Simons needs to overtake him for the lead if he wants to overhaul Harris for 4th in the championship. It's not looking likely as he goes side by side down to hairpin 1 with James Child. Who will be the last of the late breakers? I think it was Child, and he's actually lost out because of it. Gibson, all sideways, makes way for Mark Oliver once again. Harris in 6th, and Thiessen has lost a position. Harris is back to 4th in the championship. Harris, in fact, can't be caught by Jeff Simon so long as he stays where he is. And he's got a good lead over the 7th place driver of Michael Roots. On to the final lap for Nick Portlock, just 60 seconds away from a first win in Club 100. Can he keep it together? And just 60 seconds away from a first title in Club 100 for heavyweight sprint champion Will Gibson. Well, Nick was a bit more conservative through hairpin 1 that time. It's in the bag. He's just got to make sure that he doesn't fall over Stephen Jennings. Stephen points the way. Can he make it through pylon? He's halfway there. Just one more corner for Nick Portlock. Just a couple of corners for Will Gibson. This is the end of the Club 100 Heavyweight Championship. It's been a great championship. It's a first win for Nick Portlock. Will we ever hear the end of it? But more important than that, the best driver of 2008. He held his nerve when it looked as though it was going away from him. The new champion in heavyweights is Will Gibson.
Please, for a great competitor, a great character, and a great club member, Mr. Dave Feathers. Described here by Steve as a true club player, fair, clean, and well respected by all of his racing colleagues, and that is all we can ask, really. Second place, that was last year's number 3, James Charles. True to say that he would not be embarrassed if he raced in the Premier Class, and certainly he's proved that in endurance racing, especially those of us who are SA stunning, simply stunning. And he is your new champion for 2008, Will Gibson.